So we have shared one questionnaire by requesting all the guys to answer and reply back to us, and we could see the response from few guys. Around 50% of the participants responded to the mail, the questionnaires we received with answers. Okay, we appreciate them first of all. And the other point here is how we just got those answers. So few guys, what they did is they written the answer so very simplified manner. What we discussed in the class, the same they written, and few guys by extending the same information they written the answer, and few guys what they did is they copied and dumped a lot of information as answers. Really, that is not expected. Okay, they copied from our sessions, videos, snapshots also. Whatever I written in the Excel, that they just did they copied that screenshot into the answer sheet, and a few guys presented kind of some when we talk about multi-org structure, they just the flow diagram they just presented. So that's how they did. Yes, that sort of things we can take into that. But when you talk about the question, there should be some expression in terms of answer. It's the graphical representation may not speak. We have to write. Okay, if somebody is going to tomorrow, if you go to any interview, if somebody is going to ask you something, we have to answer. If you are going to draw on the board, that won't work. Okay, here the point here is what we are trying to understand. When the fresher, the beginners who are learning, the way they answer, the people who already have experience, the way they answer, it would be totally different. Okay, so when experienced people, when they answer it, the answer will be very simple and very straightforward. And the guy who is learning, okay, they may not have a clarity on that point, what points they have to highlight, what points they have to ignore, and how they have to present, and on which point they have to focus, how to drive with the answer, they may not be aware of. And that's how the different there will be some difference between the people, okay, who answers experienced or beginners. Okay, now it's always good if you can present any answer which shows your command on that topic, or it may shows some sort of experience also to other person. Even if you don't have experience, that totally depends how you are answering. So when you go for interview, how you should answer, how the people will expect answers for these questions, I'll just take you through without taking much time. Hardly I may take 10 minutes time to talk about it. It's very, very important. Try to implement from your end. Okay. So for simple question or a very big question, so if you are going to explain a lot of information also, people may not be interested to hear from us. Okay, they need the direct point which makes them to understand as we got the concept, what is the meaning of it. Okay, so there are few questions which can be answered by anyone in the similar fashion, but there are few questions which you have to come up with the your own words which will really represent, which really refer which what we discussed and how that has to be presented. Okay, so one point here before we talk about those answers, a few people written directly the answers, few people so copied and pasted a lot of information as a Google source or different sources. Okay, so that is not general, and we expected to see. But next, when we are going to have a next test 2, at the time, at least by the time, just please get ready and write it. And other point is, so I don't know how many people refer their note and written. The actual expectation is you have to write directly by looking at the question. You should not refer your book by just referring your book somebody might have written. So those cases also not expected. Anyway, let it be all these cases. Now we'll talk about answers, how the answer should be. Please consider these points how I am going to explain. Okay, I'm not telling I'm expertise, and just I'm going to tell you how the answer should be. Okay, if somebody is going to ask you explain P2P cycle, so we should explain in this way. So the P2P cycle stands for procure to pay cycle. In the procure to pay cycle, what we do is, if there is any demand in the organization, that could be internal demand or external demand, will raise the requisition, and the requisition will be raised by inventory department, and based on the internal approvals, the requisition should get approved. Once requisition is approved, that goes to purchasing department. Against the requisition, okay, we'll create the purchase order, or you can go with the process called as RFQ, request for quotations. So we'll get the quotations, we'll request for quotations, we'll get the quotations from the vendors, and we'll select the best one, then we'll place the purchase order. When you place the purchase order, we have to go with the approval process. Once purchase order is approved, we'll be sending that PO to supplier. Supplier will supply the material. Once we receive the material, we'll receive the GRN. We'll record the receipt. Then we'll be delivering the material for targeted location. So against that activity, or against the receipt, will create the invoice in the accounts payables, and by following the due date, will make the payment. The payment information will flow to cash management. If the invoice is related to fixed assets, that invoice information will be sharing with fixed assets. Final, all the information flow into general ledger. This process we call as P2P cycle. If you can explain in this way, then that would be enough. Okay, where the people can understand, yes, you got what exactly you have to understand from the P2P cycle. Okay, apart from that, you no need to explain too much. We no need to add a lot of information until unless the interviewer or somebody is going to have a cross question on what you are speaking. Okay, you don't need to talk on much. You don't need to talk about in PO we have a two type of approvals, or in PO we have four type of POs. In the purchasing, I mean to say, in purchasing four type of POs, two type of requisition. We will raise any one of the PO, will raise any one of the requisition, or we will use any one of the approvals, position, hierarchy, or employee supervisor. We don't need to talk on these points. Nobody will expect to hear all these points. Just the standard process flow, how you are able to present, they'll just look for that information. I have seen few answers where some people just copied and pasted in that answers from the Google or different sources, where the process is very complex. Okay, so the P2P and O2C, they copied from the different places. The flow diagram also they pasted. That sort of information is not at all required. Even you don't go through that information, just don't try to work on it. So whatever we discuss, that would be very standard process, and for your interview purpose or when you're working, so that would be enough. If there is some custom process, if company is following, those points you may include. Okay, that depends on the client, but for learning or for interview purpose, or when you are working, so this is what exactly we have to get ready. And when you talk about OTC cycle, so OTC stands for order to cash cycle. Within this cycle, what we do is, we'll get order from the customer, and we'll check the stock availability. Based on the stock availability or supply possibilities, we'll book the sales order. Once we book the sales order, we have to perform the pick release. Pick release is done by inventory department. Once pick release is done, ship confirm will be doing the shipping to the customer. That will be tracking as a ship confirm. This information will be tracked by order management. Pick release, ship confirmation will be tracked by order management. The physical activities takes place in the inventory. And once shipment is done, based on the shipment information, we'll create the invoice and the receivables. When you get the payment from the customer, we'll create receipt, and the receipt will apply on the transaction. Or simply you can say we'll create the receipt. The receipt information will be sharing with the cash management for bank statement reconciliation. Finally, all the data will be sending to GL. That's all. If you can you can talk about these exact points in sequence, that would be enough as an answer for O2C cycle. List out flex field qualifiers, flex field and segment qualifiers. Anyone can give the same answer if they are aware of this type of qualifiers. Okay, list of qualifiers. So how many we have? The flex field qualifiers, we have 6 flex field qualifiers. When you talk about flex field qualifiers, give importance to mandatory qualifiers first. Say balancing. You don't need to talk about balancing segment flex field qualifier. You don't need to go with that lengthy name. Simply you can say balancing, natural account, cost center, intercompany, secondary tracking, and management segment flex field qualifier. These are the 6 flex field qualifiers we have. When you talk about segment qualifiers, we have 5 segment qualifiers: allow budgeting, allow posting, account type, third party control, and reconcile. This answer would be more than enough. Just nothing else you have to speak until unless they are going to ask what is the use of balance and segment flex field qualifier. Okay, even that point we discuss, and I think I given as answer a question also. Fine. And other next question is how to create the chart of accounts. List out the setups. Okay, list out the setups. It's very simple. So first we'll create the chart of account structure, then we'll create the segments, and we'll assign the flex field qualifiers to respective segments. Primarily balancing and natural account segment flex field qualifiers will assign to respective segments. Balancing will assign to company segment, natural account will assign to account segment. Then we'll create value sets, and value sets will assign to segments, and we'll freeze and compile, and we'll create the segment values. When you are creating the segment values, we'll be selecting the specific segment qualifiers. Okay, specific. Fine, specific segment qualifiers. So that's how you have to answer. Nothing else you have to talk about it. And depending on the version, if somebody is going to ask, can you create the segment values directly? So in that case, you can just talk on that. It depends on version. Up to 12.13 version, directly you can create. After 12.13, what are the versions we have? In all the versions, you have to get the privileges. You have to give the roles to the user through user management. Then the system will allow us to create the segment values for any segment which we have in the chart of accounts. How to create the primary ledger? The answer is very simple. We'll give the primary ledger name, we'll select calendar currency chart of accounts accounting method, and we'll provide the returned earnings account. This is how we'll create the primary ledger. What is the use of allow dynamic inserts? To create the new code combinations in the system, we have to enable the allow dynamic inserts. That's all. What do you mean by returned earnings account? So when you create the primary ledger, we have to provide this account as a mandatory. This account is nothing but net income account, revenue minus expense. Okay, we'll get net income. That account only will be taking as a returned earnings account, surplus account. In other words, you can say. What is the use of journal posting? To update the balances against the accounts which we have mentioned in the journal, we have to post every journal. If you don't post the journal, balances cannot be updated against those accounts. And navigation to create the primary ledger. What is the navigation to create the primary ledger? You should remember all the navigations. You should remember all the navigations. For this, what is the navigation? We'll go to setup. Accounting setup manager, accounting setup. This is how just will navigate and will create. And list out seeded menus and request groups for all the applications. Okay, so we discussed about finance and SCM, HRMS applications. For all these applications, we have a different menus and request groups for few applications, few responsibilities same with the combination of respective application name. So that answer remains same if anybody is going to reply to this. So there is no point to just talk on that how to answer. So how do you decide how many business groups, primary ledgers, LEs, operating units, and inventory organizations required for your client? Any answer should be very simple. There should be straight answer for the question. So how many business groups? For each country, based on country, we can decide business groups. For each country, one. And primary ledgers, for each country, minimum one primary ledger, depending on requirement, what are the business client do. There can be more than one primary ledger. Legal entities, how many registrations, those many. Operating unit, based on entity or branches or outlets, we can decide how many operating units they require. And inventory organizations, how many real inventories they have, those many plus one additional, which we call as item master. List out all the setups for multi-org. It's very simple. Okay, so first we'll create the responsibilities and we'll set the profile option. We'll assign HR user type profile option to all the responsibilities. Then next what we'll do, we'll create the primary ledger. You can say directly you can create the primary ledger. That includes all the setups that you may not talk about, or else just you can touch those points as We'll create the calendar. There you no need to highlight. We'll create period type first, not required. So here the focus is multi-org, but those are the setups which we have to address very high level. You don't need to go very detailed level. We'll create the accounting calendar. We'll create the chart of accounts. Okay, and we'll enable the currency. Then we'll create the primary ledger, and we'll create legal entities, and we'll be mapping the legal entity with the primary ledger. The primary ledger will be assigning to all the responsible by using the GL ledger name. Then we'll create the location, and we'll create the business group. The business group will be assigning to all the responsible by using HR business group, MO, security profile, and HR security profile. By using these profile options, we'll be assigning the business group to all the responsibilities. After that, sorry. So after that, we'll create the operating unit. The operating unit will be assigning to all the responsibilities by using MO operating unit profile option. And we discussed the operating unit level, what modules, what applications can be mapped. That point you can remember, but generally you can say like will assign to all the responsibilities. And once we're done with that, we'll create the inventory organization. And that's how we can just once we're done with these setups, we'll run the replicate seed data. This definition, okay, these setups all comes under multi-org configuration. Okay, those are the setups which we have to list out or which we have to speak out. And what is the use of replicate seed data program? So after creating the multi-org, after creating new multi-org, Oracle recommends to run replicate seed data, so that what system will do is, if any fundamental data is missing for any multi-org definition, system will be adding that fundamental data. Okay, reality, okay, almost all the data will be available with every new multi-org, but still the recommendation is run replicate seed data, so that if any information is missing, that can be updated. And list out the basic setups for HRMS. From HRMS, what are the setups we did? Those you can list out. Primarily, we defined employees, and we defined job. Apart from that, organizations also we created from here only. That also you can take as another point. Employees creation and jobs creation, and organizations creation, business group, operating unit, inventory also we created from HRMS only. Along with that, location also we created. That also you can talk about it. List out basic setups for inventory. When I talk about the basic setups for inventory, we'll create the inventory organization. Before that, we'll create the workday calendar. Then we'll create the inventory organization. We'll be setting the accounting information, inventory information, and receiving information also for inventory. And we'll create the sub inventories, and we'll create the items. The items will be assigning to the inventory, and will be opening the periods. That's all. Those are the very basic setups as a part of inventory. And list out basic setups for purchasing. We have to create employee as a buyer, and we have to set up the financial options and purchasing options, and we have to set up the approvals. Simple point you can say. When you talk about detail level approvals and all, you can talk on that approval groups and assignments. What is use of accounting key flex field? So accounting key flex field is part of general ledger application. By using the accounting key flex field, we can create the chart of accounts which is required to maintain the company key information. Okay, so this is the point you have to address here. And what is use of balance in segment flex field qualifier? When you record any transaction, debit should be equal to credit as per balancing rule. So the balancing segment flex field qualifier will enforce this rule in the system. It will make sure that the debit amount is equal to credit amount for the same balancing segment. Okay, that is very important. It's not just amount. Along with the amount, the company code, or you can call as balancing segment value, that also should be same. That rule it will enforce. If we are not following that rule, system won't allow, or you can say balancing segment flex field qualifier won't allow us to post the journal. This is the point you have to understand. As per multi-org, what level we can map these different applications? GL level, what we can map GL application, we can map at what level? Primary ledger level. AP we can map at what level? Operating unit level. CM we can map at what level? LE level. Inventory we can map at what level? Inventory organization. HRMS what level? Business group level. What is use of replicate seed data program? This question got duplicated. We don't need to talk about it. Okay, So this is how you have to answer. Please get ready in this way, not only for these questions, whatever we are discussing, okay, based on that, just start preparing to answer in this way. Just in the very simplified manner, you should be able to explain. That would be the expectation, okay, everybody will be having when they are taking the interview. So any questions on this, please? Questions in the sense, just if you want to talk on this, please. If you want to raise any point here, please. Or if you have some questions to understand how to get prepared, some areas of learning or whatever. If you have any questions, please let me know. We can talk on that. Anyone? Hope everyone can hear me.
Lakshman, this is Ali. I just want to know the basic set of purchasing that I was really confused. So that I did many all questions answer, but this one, can you this one repeat again for one time, please?
See, I just whatever we are doing in the system, don't take in the other way. Just I'm telling the point what we did. So very clearly, I was mentioning in the sheet also. I was requesting everyone to take a note also. Okay. So whatever I just mentioned this sheet, the same I'm talking about it now. So when you talk about purchasing setup, what setups? You have to create employee as a buyer. That is the first point. Then what we have to do? You have to set up the financial options, purchasing options, and you have to set up the approvals. When you talk about approvals, employee creation, all will comes under that. Then we'll be opening the purchasing periods. That's all.
That's okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. The same. See, if I'm going to talk about based on the previous classes, you don't find something as new. I'll be referring what we discussed. Exactly
Yeah,
what we
very
discussed. The same I'll be referring. Here we have a list. Okay, create employee as a buyer, configure financial option, purchasing option. This is simple. These all points you can just come up with one point as a define approvals. As a part of that, we take in the scenario, or else instead of saying the you can talk about define approvals and you can say we have to create approval groups under approval assignments and open periods. This all doesn't comes under purchasing setups, but to run the purchasing approval process, this is a scenario we created. To come up with the scenario, we did all these setups. Okay, so this 3, 4 and 5, these 5 points you can talk about it. That's all. So any other questions from anyone, please?
thank you, Lakshman.
Yeah, thank you. Any questions from anyone, please? Okay, the guys who not yet responded to this questionnaire, I request you those guys also to just revert back to us with the answers for these questions what you have in this questionnaire. So that's all about the questionnaire which we shared. I think they are 2 days back, and just going forward, just we'll be having few more tests. We'll be requesting. So get ready and try to provide the exact answer. So that's how you can get ready. That means what you can speak that you write in the sheet. That is the expectation. Okay, done. So apart from this, any questions from previous classes, please? So when you are practicing on the system, and I think in the last session, okay, we discussed these points: matchings, okay, routing methods, right? So requisition types, purchase order types, these points we discussed. Any questions from anyone or any clarification required, or you got some doubt on something, or when you're practicing on the instance, if you have any issues, please let me know. Or if you're just stuck up with some practice later or some anything, any understanding, let me know. We can talk on that. If no questions, we can directly jump into the actual session. I mean to say the system related process or any discussions.
Yeah, actually, Lakshman, my question is regarding the four-way matching, and in this is the inspections. So is there is a part of receipt actually? whether or is there any other form for that for the inspection where we can write down for the inspection what is the problem in the item?
Yeah, fine. See, when you talk about inspection, so inspection we have a separate application also. Okay, so if you take some companies where it's a mandatory process where they have to conduct the inspection, after that only they have to receive. And when they talk about inspection, what are the defects and several reasons how they want to manage with that rejected quantity and all this information, if they want to maintain detail level and if they want to bring the process into this procurement, okay, they can use the separate application, quality, Oracle quality application or module. But when you talk about purchasing, we have a two option. Oracle given two option. One is you can use a separate application from Oracle to do this inspection. In that case, you have to take the license also for that, being a client. And otherwise, as a simple action, okay, as a simple action, you can perform directly in the purchasing only as a part of receipt. Okay, we'll create the receipt. Within that receipt we will be mentioning how much you received. Out of that received quantity, how much you are accepting, how much you are rejecting. The rejection reason just you can put as a simple line or value. Okay, that's how you can manage.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Any other questions, please? Any other questions? Fine. Since no questions, and please take these points also very serious. Prepare theoretically and setups, or you can say configuration and process. Focus on these 3 points when you are going through anything what we are learning or what we are discussing. Now we look at the P2P cycle. Okay, so P2P cycle. Okay, just write as this. I have seen somebody's writing P2P, somebody written as P2P. If somebody seen this, they don't understand. Okay, PTOP or PTP, not P2P, right? So don't go with our convenience. So how exactly that has to be written? Write in that way only. P2P. You write in this way. Who knows Oracle application across the globe? Anyone can understand. Okay, don't go with your own short namings. Use exactly P2P only, or else you can write full form of P2P cycle. In case of O2C also same. Okay, fine. P2P cycle. So when you talk about P2P cycle, so what we are going to do is, for our understanding, anyway, we are not going to work on the same side. To understand how this P2P cycle will get connected, the procurement process will get connected with our accounts payables application to execute with the payment, supplier payments, and finally to flow into cash management. We'll just go with the certain activities. So first what we'll do is we'll create requisition. We'll create requisition and we'll approve it. First we'll see the case where we'll create requisition and we'll approve, and in the next scenario we'll create the requisition with the more than what are the limits that specific user has, being employee with a specific job, and that will be submitting to his supervisor. That's how we'll approve. Okay, in the first version of this P2P cycle, just will go within the limits where the same user can approve it. So we'll create the requisition and we'll approve it, and RFQs and all we no need to create. So we're not focusing on that purchasing core areas, just for our understanding that, remember that point, but no need to create. Here what we'll do is, based on the requisition, we'll create purchase order. Simply you can say PO, and we'll approve it. Okay, after creating the purchase order, we'll approve it. After that, we'll create receipt. What do you mean by standard receipt routing method? Anyone, please? What do you mean by standard receipt routing method?
Yeah, in this method, generally first the inventory will come to the staging and then it come to the inventory. So this process will be followed in the standard receipt routing.
Inventory will come to staging. No, see, the terms may not be very correct for this explanation.
First, we will take in staging, then from staging to sub inventory.
Yeah, fine. Answer is correct, but you are not addressing properly. Please don't mind. I am considering everything. First, it will come to staging, then inventory. What is coming, you are not talking about it. Okay. First, we'll receive the material into staging, then we'll move to inventory. Okay. So even your answer is correct, but I'm just addressing as a that is a item or goods or material. Fine. So we'll go with that example. In this process, we'll use receipt routing as a standard receipt. So in that case, two steps. First, we have to receive into staging, then we have to move into actual inventory. So we'll create the receipt for the point of receiving the material into staging. Then we'll create receiving transaction. So when you receive the material into staging, we'll create the receipt, and to move the material from staging to inventory, we'll create the receiving transaction. After that, so in this case, we'll go with we have three matching options, right? Two-way, three-way, four-way. We will test two-way matching only. Later, we'll be testing three-way and four-way. Since we are going to create receipt, you can go with the three-way matching. But here, we'll go and test only two-way. The further examples will be testing how to create the invoice with the three-way matching, four-way matching also. So I'll say create AP invoice, or you call as purchase invoice. All are same. These are different terms. Or call as supplier invoice. Okay, create AP invoice or purchase invoice or supplier invoice. Okay, create this, any one of all are same. Create this invoice, or let me take as just supplier invoice or AP invoice. Anything, just remember, just for your understanding, I'm giving these terms. All are same. I'll write it here as a create AP invoice using two-way matching. In two-way matching, what we do, invoice will create against PO. We don't consider receipt. By considering receipt, we'll create three-way matching. That also we'll be discussing. Fine. So after creating the invoice, okay, we'll just make the payment. That's all. Anyway, we know how to make the payment, but to understand the complete cycle, so we'll create the requisition, we'll approve it. Then against the requisition, you can create the purchase order automatically, and against that you can create the receipt also automatically. You can create the receiving transaction based on that automatically, create AP invoice through matching without entering any information, and make the payment. So here in this case, requisition we are going to create from purchasing application. We discussed as a part of P2P cycle, requisitions will be created in inventory. Yes, both are right. So reality, in inventory application, there are different planning methods. We have a min-max planning, minimum and maximum specifications you can do. Based on that, automatically system will trigger the requisition. For example, this detailed information we don't require, just to give you some basic understanding. I'm talking about this. Say for example, in inventory you can define the min-max planning. min-max planning. So say for example you are setting in your inventory minimum 100 quantity should be there and max 1000 quantity you define. This we call as minimax planning. This you can create within the inventory application. Basically this will be done by SCM consultants. Okay, but let's try to understand this basic level of information. So you can create this min-max planning in the inventory. You may set for a specific item. This would be item specific. Okay, for so and so item, say iPhone. Item is iPhone. So iPhone, you want to maintain minimum 100 quantity and max 1000. You don't want to maintain less than 100, more than 1000. Now you are just selling to your customers. Now you have a stock of availability, say 200 now. So this is within this planning only, right? Minimum you should maintain 100. Anyway, you have 200. Now you got one order from one customer. Now you got some order from one customer for 150 quantity, and you sold 150. Now automatically that available quantity, on hand quantity, you can say the stock which is available in the inventory, that you can say on hand quantity. The on hand quantity will come down to 50. As per your minimax planning, minimum 100 should be there. So whenever system will identify stock availability became 50, so what's the maximum we can have in the inventory? If iPhones in the inventory, 1000. So it is falling to 50, then system will create requisition automatically with 950. Like automatic system will create requisition for 950 quantity. Max you can have 1000. So here minimum 100. So it will target to max, and you just sold 150. When you have 200, you sold 150. The availability will become 50, but minimum you have to maintain 100. So in this scenario, system will look at what max we can have, how much we have. Only 50 we have, max we can have 1000. It will raise the requisition automatically for 950 quantity. So requisition also will be created by system automatically in the purchasing inventory application. Once the requisition is created by system automatically in the inventory application, that can be imported into purchasing automatically. Sorry. So the requisition can be created automatically by using this minimax planning. Just I am talking about one planning method. There are many planning methods, min-max, Kanban. Okay, different methods we have depending on so what item they are dealing, how that demand they'll be having. They'll be using the different planning methods, which is a part of inventory. So it's automatically based on this setup, system will create the requisition, and purchasing department will import that system created requisition from inventory to purchasing, and against that they'll create the PO. Then once they receive the material, they'll create receipt, receiving transaction, AP, invoice, payment. If you look at this process, requisition creation is automatic in inventory, and that can be imported into purchasing application. Within the purchasing, you can create the purchase order, you can approve it. Against the purchase order, automatically you can create the receipt, and against the receipt you can create the receiving transaction automatically, and against this PO or receipt information you can create invoice automatically in AP, and against the AP invoice you can make the payment. So if you look at this process is happening in the different applications. So data will come from requisition, information will come from inventory to, okay, requisition can be automatically created in inventory. That information will come to purchasing application automatically. From here it will flow to AP as invoice, and that will turn into payment also. That payment information will go to cash management. From cash management the data will go to CM, sorry, GL. Okay, this is how data will flow. If you notice the point, we are not entering single record also. If you can create minimax planning in inventory, automatically requisition will be created. That requisition can be created as a PO also automatically. Against the PO or receipt, you can create AP invoice. Okay, here within this PO, data is coming to PO, purchasing application. Within purchasing system will create requisition information as a purchase order information. The purchase order information will be turned into receipt. The receipt, based on the receipt, okay, that information we can create invoice in AP automatically, and everything we can create automatically. The automation can be implemented. Data will be flowing from one application to another application. Inventory to PO, PO to AP, AP to CM, CM to GL. This kind of seamless integration, the tight integration connectivity can be established in ERP systems only. These are altogether different applications, but they have very good communication channel. That kind of channel you can see normally in the ERP application. So all these applications data will be stored in the single database only. Okay, so this is the great capability ERP applications has. Already we discussed, in ERP you can create multiple multi-org structures also. All the structures data can be maintained in single database. Depending on the process, the different applications can have a communication in terms of sharing the data. If you take this example, inventory will be sharing requisition information with the PO, purchasing department. Purchasing department will create the purchase order based on the requisition, and they'll create the receipt also. The PO information, I mean to say purchase order information or receipt information, the PO purchasing department can share with accounts payables department, and accounts payables department will be sharing the payment information with the cash management, and finally from the cash management application or department data goes to GL. Here basically these are the departments, the same each and every departments, what are the process they involve. We have applications, how the reality communication takes place between the department, the same can be established in the systems. So to establish the real-time communication channel in the system process, the what are the applications we use, those we call as ERP applications. Okay, ERP applications, you can completely reduce the effort of entering the data into system. Everything you can automate. In between the process you may involve to specify some value and to perform the action. You are not allowing the users to enter directly invoice in AP. That has to come through proper channel, which has to be approved by different process or application or a different function or group of the people. Okay, so this is how this organization can take the advantage of ERP product. So here the same way O2C cycle also, that's how data will flow. We'll see anyway. Here we'll just go through this process. Any questions here, please? Any questions from anyone? So any questions from anyone, please? Seems to no questions. So now we'll just look at this process. And we'll just, first what we'll do is, before we start with this process, we'll just go and verify in inventory purchasing applications, periods are open for a December month or not, we'll go and check it. Okay. I don't remember exactly. We just completed setups in this month or last month. Anyway, we'll go and cross check. If periods are open, then we can start with the process. Fine. We'll just go and check the period status. Let's connect to the instance. So meantime, any questions from anyone, please?
Lakshman, this is Veera.
Yeah.
Since I have joined only today, I would like to know what are the classes that are completed and what is at present going on.
Okay. If you don't mind that point, we can discuss in the end of the session. Is it okay?
Sure.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you. So, any other questions? Fine. So first we'll go to inventory responsibility and we'll verify what is the current period status in the inventory. Go to inventory responsibility. Just click on any one of the form based function, not web based functions. Already we discussed. We have a difference between this. The notepad icon, okay, similar to notepad icon, those functions will connect to web pages, and which you can see some flow diagram kind of icons. Those will connect to the forms. Click on any one of form based function. It will open directly the specific responsibility. Why this is coming? Somebody's did some changes to this Java plugin. Oh, okay, it's open. So now since we just connected to inventory super user, system is asking us to connect to specific inventory organization. So we have to open the periods inventory organization wise. Okay, you can select now or else you may close it. So which inventory organization you want to check the period status, what you can do is you can just select this function called a change organization. Okay, for specific inventory we have to open the periods. This is inventory responsibility. Within this response you may have n number of inventory organizations, right? So our inventory organization name is cloud, right? Cloud Hyderabad inventory, right? Just select it. You no need to open the periods for master inventory organization because we don't perform any transaction in master inventory. Always we perform the transactions in the real inventory, which we call as physical or actual inventory. Fine. So what is the navigation to open the periods in inventory? Anyone? Already we completed this task. Anyone? What is the navigation to open the periods in inventory? I think seems to know navigation. Accounting
Hello?
close cycle.
Yeah, navigation, accounting close cycle and inventory accounting period.
Yeah. Fine. So accounting close cycle, inventory accounting periods. So you could see December period status is future. Okay, we opened only November period. Just open December period also. You don't need to select anything. System knows which is the current period. How system knows current period? Based on our system date, which computer you are using, based on that system knows, as well as server date, server wherever you installed, whatever the date you have for that, based on that system can understand it. Okay, 1 second. Now just what you have to do is just click on change status, so that system will turn the status from future to open for December month. Just click on change status. Just say, sorry, 1 second, 1 second. It got select here. It got selected here. Even system is addressing this. It got selected. This here blue color you can see here. The blue color here, that is selection. Place cursor here. System selected, but if you select different one, system will focus on that. Click on change status. Open this period. Okay. Yes, open. Now close this. So if you open the period in inventory, then system will allow you to record the receipt. Otherwise you cannot record the receipt in inventory. Now you have to create the purchase orders in purchasing application, right? For that, we'll go and open the purchasing periods also, if those are not open for current month. Go to purchasing super user responsibility. Anyone, what is the navigation in purchasing? Because we should remember all these points. We should remember. But all navigations also we should remember, not only just process or specific area. Everything you should remember. What is the navigation, anyone? Okay. At least by referring the note also nobody is answering. No issues. Okay, the navigation is go to setup, financials, accounting, and control purchasing periods. Okay, we should remember all these navigations. Setup, financials, accounting, control purchasing periods. Just double click. Okay, fine. Here, just look for that period, which period you want to open. Here you can see from April 17 to November 17 periods are displayed, and any December period, all are not in sequence. In between you have March 18 also. So your system is displaying 1 to 10 periods only from our accounting calendar. You can just click on, you can see November period status is open. Click on next. Okay. Okay, here just go back. We have December period here itself. Oh yes, here itself we have December. Change the status to open. When we are working in real time, as a part of month end activity, they will close the period when they are entering into December from November. They will close the November and they'll enter into December. They'll open the December period. That is separate activity which need to be done, which we call as period closing process. Okay, but here simply we are just opening the period. Before that, okay, what are the transactions we have in the specific period in specific application, those we have to just work on it. We have creating accounting entries, any issues we have to resolve, then we'll be closing that period and we'll be opening the next period, means current period or whatever the period you are entering. Okay, that's how we do it. Here we don't have any transaction, we don't need to worry about it. Then just say save. Done. Open the periods. Now here from purchasing itself you can open the GL periods also. Next to control purchasing periods, you have another function called as open and close periods function also. This will open GL open close form. That means from purchasing also you can open the GL periods. Why Oracle is providing GL period related function in purchasing? The reason is, if you are creating the transactions, I mean to say purchase, you can say like purchase orders, system will look for the same period is open in GL or not, because that information you have to send to GL, as well as with which date accounting entry should be created. That system will take the date from GL only, that we call a GL date. Okay, in which period you are recording the transactions in subledger applications, the same period you should open in GL also. You have to make sure that the same periods are open in all the applications. So that is the reason for the convenience they given function within the purchasing itself. Okay, double click on this and we'll go and verify that. Double click. So it's a GL open close form only, right? Just click on find. You could see December period is open. Yes, we open. So to record the transactions, invoices and payments in payables, at the time we open December, right? Done. And accounts payables, already the period is open. In the last session we created transaction invoices also. And when you talk about cash management, there is no concept of opening and closing the periods in cash management. Okay, in cash management application, no concept of opening and closing the periods. Okay, anyway, when we are working on CM, we'll see that. Fine. In inventory, purchasing, accounts payables, and GL. In these four applications, periods are open. And another point is no concept of opening and closing the periods in HRMS application. Okay, so HRMS application, there just you maintain the employees related information. No need to have a control for the employees. Okay, and that is the reason there is no concept of opening and closing the periods in HRMS. Only inventory, purchasing, and payables and GL. When you talk about P2P cycle, these are the applications which has a concept of opening and closing the periods. Okay, so we'll talk about the period, different statuses of the periods when you are working on GL. As of now, the simple point is if the period status is open, then only you can enter the transaction. If you set period status as closed, you cannot enter the transactions. If period status is future entry, you can create the transaction and you cannot process it. You cannot post it. Okay. So as of now, we'll take the simple point. If you want to record the transactions, the period status should be open. In which period you are going to record the transaction, the period should be open. In which period you will be recording the transactions? Always current period only. You are in which period, that period only you'll be entering. So always you have to make sure that current period is open for the respective applications. Fine. And before we go and create the requisition, just we will look at the point. What are the approval limits we have for the employees? Okay. I think that we completed here, right? Purchasing. So we have two employees, right? One employee name is cloud employee, another employee name itself cloud manager. This is what we given. For that we created jobs as a buyer and purchasing manager. We are using employee supervisor approval hierarchy. Already we discussed all these points. Fine. So we cannot directly set the limits for employee level. The approval limits you can set for the employee with the help of job only. For buyer job we given 10,000 rupees and purchasing manager we given 1 lakh rupees. So now the current user login what we are using, that is for that user we assigned cloud employee, okay, as a employee, right? Cloud employee we assign to current user. Now if you go to create the requisition from this login, current login, cloud login, we are using the username as cloud for login purpose, right? For that user level, this cloud employee is assigned. For that employee, buyer role is assigned. For buyer role, we given the limit of 10,000. That means this cloud user, from cloud user, if you are going to create the requisitions, you can create the requisition or purchase order with any amount, but you can approve up to only 10,000. Why? System will look at who is the user, cloud. For cloud user, he is used by which employee? Cloud employee. For cloud employee, which job is assigned? Buyer. For buyer job, what is the approval limit? This is how system will verify. That's how it will find. It will decide. Okay, the requisitions or purchase orders can be approved up to which amount. This is how system will verify, and it will just will act accordingly. In the same way, for cloud manager also we have separate user that we'll see in the next version of cycle. Okay, as of now we'll create the requisition purchase orders with 10 or less than 10,000 so that the cloud user will be able to approve. Later we'll create requisition and purchase order with more than 10,000. In that case, the cloud user has to submit to his supervisor. That also will be testing. Okay, we'll go and create the requisition, okay, with 10 or less than 10,000 rupees, and we don't need to implement or define minimax planning and all not required for us. We are not going to work as a, or we are not going to try for SCM consultant roles. Okay, we are focusing on finance. Just for understanding, I given that point. Just remember, and otherwise not required. Okay, let's go and create requisition from the current user. So requisitions you can create from purchasing. If you are going to auto generate, those you can generate from inventory. But manual process, when it comes to manual process, requisition function is available from purchasing application itself, purchasing super user responsibility itself. Okay, so we'll go and create the requisition. So navigation is, take the navigation. Hope everything you are taking, all the points what we are discussing and doing in the system. Okay, navigation is requisitions, requisitions, requisitions. Just double click. What is the structure of invoice? Anyone? What is the structure of invoice? Anyone, please? If you are responding, it would be easy for you as well as for me also. Fine. So when we talk about invoice structure, we have header, line, and distribution. That is invoice structure we discussed a few days back. And here, when you look at requisition also will have a same structure. This up to here, these fields 3, 5, okay, and 8. These above fields, this fields of area we call as requisition header. And however, invoice will have a lines in the same way. Requisition also will have a lines. Here you can enter multiple lines, and each line will have a distribution. Remember this point. Okay. So same as invoice, we have a requisition structure. Requisition header, requisition lines, requisition distribution, lines related distribution. For each line will have a distribution. With the distribution, what we do in case of invoice, we will distribute the amount with the account. We'll distribute the the amount with the specific account. The amount should belongs to which account. That's it. The same here also we do. And when you look at the header level, system is taking the operating unit, because for this responsibility, for this cloud purchasing super user responsibility, we assign this cloud Hyderabad operating unit by using MO operating unit profile option. That is the reason it is taking automatically. Now my question is, where we given requisition number specification? Anyone, please? If you are able to answer, that would be really great. I'm not asking what we did.
Purchasing options.
Purchasing options. Yes. So now if you create requisition, system will take the number from purchasing options. Whatever the number you given as a starting number, from that number it will start. Fine. Thanks for the answer. Fine. So here type, we discussed we have a two type of requisitions. One is purchase requisition, other one is internal. By default, system will take purchase requisition only. Generally, in any company, if you see, mostly the companies will be raising the requisition to procure from the vendors only, suppliers only, not to get from other inventory to one inventory to another inventory. So the default, you have a purchase requisition. If you click on LOV, you can see another requisition type is internal. Okay, done. And here system is taking Who is going to prepare this requisition? Cloud employee. From where system is taking cloud employee? How system knows as cloud employee is preparing the requisition? How
Through
system?
buyer setup?
Sorry?
Through buyer setup?
No. I have two buyers, right? Anyone please? Because these points are very important. Few people may not like to just go through all these points, but it's very important. That makes more sense to understand how the application works and process works. Okay, it's very important which we have to focus. Just let me ask these questions please. Okay, system is taking preparer as a cloud employee. How system is taking? Think on that. Simple point. So we are working on the system with the cloud user login. For cloud user, cloud employee is assigned. That's how it is taken. The user level which employee is assigned, that employee it will take automatically as preparer. Means the user, by using that user who is working on the system, that will be assigning that employee to that user, right? That's how it will take it. Fine. Approval status. Here status means approval status. By default incomplete. So it is taking INR because for this operating unit we assigned, okay, we assigned primary ledger. Within the primary ledger we have currency called as INR, that only it is taking, and we didn't enter any line amount. It is not taking anything. Just remember these points. Okay, so line level. So what is the requirement in our company that you have to include, you have to specify as a part of requisition? That's what we discussed, right? So now we'll provide that information in the line level. Just place the cursor in the line number. See here, just map like this: line number, line type, line item, line category, line description, line amount, everything. Just that's what we have to refer. So just place the cursor in the number field, automatically system will take the number. And type. So the types, you can have a different types. Line type, whether your requirement related to some services or goods, what exactly, what sort of requirements you'll be having in the company, those all you can create as line types. That will be normally whatever the line types client require, all will be created by SCM consultant. But here there will be predefined line types. Out of that you can select any one of the line type. Here we'll select as a goods. Okay, we'll select as a goods. Click on LOVC. Here there are many line types. Let's select goods. Fine. Now we are in purchasing. Okay, where we have item, where we created item.
We created item in item master.
Item master, yes, that we assign to. Yes, we created an item
Purchase and
master
payable.
that we assigned to.
Assigned to purchase and
No,
payables.
no.
Assigned to financial options.
Functions.
No. You are not clear with my question, I guess. So we created item in item master. That item we assign to what? I'm asking. Item you assign to what?
In
Inventory
actual
relation.
inventory.
That is the point. Okay, we assign to yes,
In actual inventory.
actual inventory. Okay. Now I'll try to find the item from here. So instead of clicking on LOV and providing this item name here, okay, the simple technique what you can do is give percentage and use enter key from keyboard. Use enter. It will list out if you have many items. If you have only one item, it will select. Now How system is selecting item here? Any logic? In item master, we
Actually,
created
we have
one
assigned
item
the
only
item.
that we assign to our actual inventory. Yeah, please.
Actually, we have assigned this particular item to one inventory organizations, and when we are creating this item, before that, actually, we have changed the organization and we have selected the inventory organizations.
No, I didn't get your question. Now, my answer. My question is how we are able to access that item from purchasing.
The item, whether it's assigned to actual inventory or not.
Yes, assigned. The item
Yeah,
is
which
assigned to actual inventory. Then what is the point? How come we are able to access
yeah
it?
yeah the item, whether it's assigned to actual inventory or not, where which
Assigned.
actual inventory is assigned to uh, respect operating unit.
Exactly.
Okay.
That is the point we have to understand. Okay. So where you assigned, your point is correct. The actual inventory should be assigned to operating unit. Where you assigned? This is very important now. Where you assigned? Which setup used?
Uh,
Organization setup.
in
Yeah, please go ahead.
yeah, financial options.
Exactly. Financial options. Financial options for which applications?
Um, Particularly in payables.
Payables, right? Only for payables, right?
And another one is purchasing.
Yeah, not only for payables, it is for purchasing payables, even it's for FA also. That's what we discussed. That means you assigned inventory organization to financial options means that you are assigning to purchasing and payables by selecting the operating unit. Financial options will be creating for specific operating unit. Through financial options, you assigned inventory to this operating unit. So now we are creating the purchase requisition within this operating unit. So from that inventory, the item we are able to access. If you are not able to find the item, what could be the reason? Now I am creating requisition. I created item in inventory, but the item I am not able to find here. What could be the reason?
The item, whether whether it's assigned to actual inventory or not, we have to check it before that.
Assigned. I assigned to actual inventory.
Yeah.
Still I am not able to find.
No, actually, the item, whether it's
Purchasing
assigned to
enabled.
actual inventory,
Assigned.
assigned to actual inventory or not,
Assigned.
where, yeah,
Item is purchasable. That purchasing enabled. That
Yes. Those points also we have to consider. Okay. So it's a purchasable item, purchased item. When purchased and purchasable, those flags are enabled, then only it will come here. Okay, those also enabled. So other point could be to which inventory organization you assign that item, the same inventory organization you assign to this operating unit or not, we have to verify. Okay. So this is how our approach should be when we are just working on the application. What are the setups we did? What when we are doing some transaction, the data which we are selecting. Okay, so how it is flowing, from where it is coming. You should keep eye on that. You should keep thinking on that point. That would be really great learning. Okay, please just focus on that. I am not going to trouble you by asking all these questions all the time for everything. So just to give you some kind of information how just we have to think and understand when we are working on the transaction process, I'm asking all these questions. Okay, great, really great answers. So I could hear from just one or two guys only. Fine, done. So just we selected
sorry to
item from inventory.
sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, please.
Header level, we don't give any information right now.
So you see here which information is required. Operating system is taking. Number system will take automatically from purchasing options. If you want to write some description optionally, you can write. Here type system is taking automatically. Status already is there. Prepare it is taken from user. Currency here we have. Once you enter an amount here, it will goes to here.
Suppose to select type purchase requisition, we can change that.
So you can change it. If I change this cloud employee can create internal requisition and approve. You tell me please.
No, it is not possible.
Cloud employee can create and approve. Creation anyone can do. Cloud employee can approve internal requisition or not. Yes or no? If yes, why?
No,
Why?
because the preparer is the employee. I mean, buyer is the employee.
No. Anyone please? These all will get these points when you are understanding the setups. These points will get connected. Anyone please? See, cloud employee, which role we assign?
Preparer.
Sorry?
Preparer.
Preparer. Role, see, that is a field name. Cloud employee, job we assigned. Which job we assigned? Employee definition, we assigned the job, right?
Yes.
Which job? No, just I'm asking, I'm just requesting. Which job you assigned to cloud employee?
Purchasing.
Buyer.
Buyer. What is the secret in that? Buyer. Buyer job we assigned. Just now we have seen that also. I opened the sheet and we gone through that.
That was a little bit confusion, so that's why I must.
Now you tell me, Jay Prakash.
Yeah.
So what is the reason why this cloud employee cannot create internal requisition? I'm sorry, it can create, but why he cannot approve it?
He is having only 50,000 limit.
Wrong answer. Anyone please? We are at exact point.
He is the buyer.
He is a buyer, yes.
Yeah.
Now also is buyer, right?
Yes.
I'm able to. I can approve it. There is one point which we did through setup. That we have to understand. That's how just these points we have to understand very thoroughly. Anyone please? Anyone please? Just let's wait for 2 minutes. You think and tell me. Anyone please? It's a really simple point.
Actually,
Yeah, please. Somebody's.
yeah, actually we have assigned the approval groups actually, and actually we have created the approval group, and we have given the some limits for the cloud user also.
True. Where is this point? Here, yes, that is true. Whatever setup we did, are talking about it.
Yes.
Why this cloud employee cannot approve internal requisition? So based on setup, just whatever the setups we did, that will decide. Okay. Now tell me other point. This cloud employee can approve purchase requisition, right? With up to 1,000 rupees. Why cloud employee? Because of which reason cloud employee can approve purchase requisition up to 1,000? Tell me. If you tell this, you can answer to that question also. What is the reason this cloud employee can approve purchase requisition up to 1,000 rupees?
Signing limit.
Sorry?
Signing limit.
No, I didn't get you. What limit?
Signing limit. Signing limit.
Signing limit. Yeah, what exactly that signing limit? Fine, let's not waste time more than this. Yeah, please. Any answer?
10,000 something.
No. Yeah, 10,000. Okay.
Employee is not set up
Maybe
as buyer.
10,000. I'm sorry, I was taking 1,000. Yeah, 10,000. Yeah.
Employee is not set up as buyer.
Employee is set up as a buyer. Yes, we completed. Fine, done. Okay, let's freeze it. We'll just close this question. So the point is, for buyer role, you given 10,000 approval limit only for purchase requisition. Do you remember that? You didn't select internal requisition when you are setting the approval limit for buyer role. True or not? We give an approval limit, okay, for buyer role only for two documents. One is purchase requisition, second one is which document? Standard purchase order. We have a two requisitions and four purchase orders, right? Out of that, we selected only two. Purchase requisition and standard purchase order. If you want to know, I'll show you. So just go with the setup, approval, approval assignments. What's the name we given here? Search with our business group. Buyer, right? Cloud India Business Group. So which documents we given approval? Approval group 10,000, 10,000. For one is approved purchase requisition. The other one is standard purchase order. Only for these two documents. We didn't select internal requisition, right? We didn't select it. We given approval limits for buyer only for purchase requisition. This buyer is assigned to our employee user. So that is the reason that user can approve only purchase requisition only, not internal requisitions. That's it. That's the meaning of this setup. Okay.
Thank you, got it.
Yeah. Fine. So let's proceed with this requisition creation. So requisitions. So header level, you don't need to provide any information. Just go to lines and select as a goods. You can type, it will fetch, or else you can select from LOV and give percentage and use enter. If you have multiple items within the inventory which is associated with this operating unit or say assigned, it will list out. If you have only one, it will select. So system is defaulting. For when you create an item, automatically system taken category as miscellaneous, the same it is taking, and we return the description as a Apple phone that system is taking. Within that, unit of measurement is there as each the same it is taking. Everything it is taking, this information it is taking from the item only, and you can specify the quantity. Okay, how many iPhones requirement you have? Okay, say 5. Quantity is 5. Here the approved limit for this employee is 10,000 only. Okay, so I'll just go with just very less amount, which is impossible. Okay, so 5 quantity we need. Each iPhone price is 1500. I'm taking since we have a approved limits. So automatically system is taking quantity is 5, price is 15. So what is the total amount? 7,500. Anyway, this cloud employee has approved limit for purchase requisition up to 10,000 to approve, not to enter. You can enter with any amount, but you cannot approve. This cloud employee cannot approve. Okay, that has to be routed to supervisor or someone else. But now we are not going with that example. We'll see that later. So we have to specify need by date. By which date we require these 5 iPhones. Click on LOV. Say we require by tomorrow. If we get today also, we can accept. So specify need by date as a mandatory. The same 5 quantity, unit price 1500, total amount is 7,500. Same updated here also. Okay, done. Now once you get the iPhones, where you want to place, if it is something like stock, okay, you will be storing in the inventory. Otherwise the requisition may be for expense. Now we are raising the requisition for iPhones which you may store in the inventory to sell to your customers, or else it may be related to expense. If it is expense, line type select as expense, but it's not expense. So that you have to select destination type. iPhones we are buying, say we want to place these iPhones in the inventory, so select destination type as inventory. Once you get these items into organization from supplier, where you will be placing, that's very important. You have to select destination type. So if you are raising the requisition to spend some expense, say you are going for outing, your team is going for outing, your manager may raise the requisition. In that case, the manager will be selecting line type as expense. Here destination type, once you spend expense, what you can take into inventory? Nothing, right? You have to select destination type as expense. Okay, expense. And organizations, what we do is, when you talk about some manufacturing process, say you are buying some item and you have a shop floor in your company, okay, where say for example you are into car manufacturing, you have a requirement of buying spare parts, you have a requirement for spare parts. Once you buy the spare parts, what you will do is, you don't place in the inventory, directly will be sending to the shop floor where you will do the assembling. So if you are buying the item, where you will be sending to shop floor where you do the assembling and all, in that case select destination type as a shop floor. Okay, so when you are into manufacturing process, if you are buying item to use in that process, in that case you can use it. Now anyway, iPhone will take you into inventory. Select inventory. Who is the requester? Cloud employee only. Let's take simple example here. In this example, in this case, preparer as well as requester both are same. Okay, preparer and requester same, but depending on scenario this can be different. So say for example you requested for iPhone. If I am creating that in the system, I will become preparer, you will become requester. Or else you requested for laptop, okay, you requested, you are into project, you requested for laptop, you requested your manager for laptop. In that case your manager is going to raise a requisition in your company saying that so and so employee who is in the team require laptop. Your manager will become preparer, and since you requested, you will become a requester. So in current scenario both we are taking same. Fine. So you need 5 iPhones. So once you get from this vendor, you need those 5 iPhones into which inventory organization that you have to select. You never take into item master. Okay, just for item creation, not to maintain the stock. Select, you will be taking that stock into which inventory organization? Cloud Hyderabad inventory. Select it. And where this Cloud Hyderabad inventory is located, select location. So Cloud Hyderabad. Okay, fine.
Suppose, I'm sorry. Suppose if we have 5 locations, so which one we can select here?
You will be taking to specific look. Okay, you mean to say the 5 items you want to take into 5 different locations, right?
Yes, yes.
So in that case, here you don't have any option. When we are receiving that, you can specify. Okay, when you are receiving there, the destination you can specify destination inventory for each and every item. You will be taking the quantity 1 specific in location. That's how you can specify as a part of PO. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
You should have a multiple distributions for that in that case. Right. Now you have a requirement of 5 iPhones. Those you want to get from your organization's other inventory or from supplier. If you want to, if you have this requirement where this has to be taken into organization from supplier, that means if you want to procure from the supplier these 5 iPhones as per a requirement, you select source as a supplier. Otherwise, you may select as inventory. In which scenario we'll be selecting inventory? If requisition type is internal requisition, we'll be selecting source as inventory. When we create internal requisition, when we are going to request the material from other inventory. Okay, that is the point. Now we select a type as a purchase requisition. You should have a source as supplier only. So I am requesting for 5 iPhones and I may have a preference of requesting to buy from so and so supplier. I can give the supplier name also here, saying I need 5 laptops, 5 iPhones, and please buy from so and so supplier only. That also I may give some preference, but finally purchasing department will take decision. Okay, you are just requester. Okay, you are in such a good position in the company, they may just definitely respect and they'll buy. Otherwise, simply they'll ignore your request and they can proceed with their quotation process and etc. Also, depending on item also, there may be policy in the company when somebody is raising the requisition, whatever the supplier they'll prefer, maybe the purchasing department has to purchase from the same supplier. But here the point we have to understand, the requisition creation time itself you can provide the supplier also, but not mandatory. Okay, let's ignore it, not required. Fine. So these are the details we have to provide here. Again, if you know exactly you will be taking these iPhones in this inventory into which sub inventory, that also you can specify. Fine. You can select into you can specify a particular sub inventory as a just information. Later if you want to change, you can change. Okay, that's how you can do it. So we header level we didn't provide anything, line level we give it, the line based some other specifications we given. Now just click on distributions tab. So here it is taking 5 quantity. Okay, 5 quantity. So just place cursor in the charge account field. Once you click on distribution, this form will open. Just place the cursor in the charge account field. Just place the cursor, that's all. No need to do anything. System is taking the account automatically. Where we given this account, anyone? 1410. If you remember, please. Okay.
Cloud Hyderabad inventory.
Yeah, exactly where? Yes, Cloud Hyderabad inventory only. Yeah, for sure. From where exactly? Cloud Hyderabad inventory from where? From inventory information, inventory options, right? The inventory information we given material account. That account it will be deriving here. 1410 is material account. You could see here. Material inventory material value account. Okay, that account just it will derive as a charge account automatically. Now here you can save it. Just save it. Done. Just save it and close this distribution. Just place cursor, it will take, then save it. That's all. Sometimes if there is some issue in the system, when you place the cursor it won't take. In that case you click on LOV and you provide. When you provide, sometimes it won't accept. In that case, close this requisition form. Once again create the requisition. That may work. Fine. Now what we have to do is we have to approve the requisition. This employee, cloud employee, has approve limit up to 10,000 rupees. How? For this employee we assign the role called as a buyer, job called as buyer. For buyer job has approve limit up to 10,000 for purchase requisition, not for internal requisition. Once you save it, system is taking the number. The purchasing options for requisition number we given automatic, and the starting number should be 1 we given, so system is taking that 1. Now just click on approve. Here by default system selected checkbox called as submit for approval. That's what we want to do. Okay, click on OK. Now system will verify who is creating. For that user, which employee is assigned. For that employee, which job is assigned. For that job, what is the limit we have. Again, that limit is applicable for which type of requisition. All system will verify in this submission process. We submitted, this form got refreshed. Now to see the status of the requisition, whether it got approved or not, go to this navigation. Requisition summary. Okay, navigation is requisition summary. And provide requisition number. Requisition number is 1, right? Provide requisition number. Click on find. So requisition number, approved status is approved. The creation date, currency, amount, who's the preparer. Okay, which type of requisition, that is all the information you can see. From here, if you want to open the requisition, you can open. Requisition one of the following. Okay, since it is not I mean, it's depending on status. If it is already just with some issue, these are the following statuses. If you have, it will allow. See here, this requisition is in one of the following status. It's a cancelled or approved or in process or finally closed or pre-approved. Other than this, if any other status, it will allow. Okay, now it's approved status, so that's reason it's not opening. That's how they written the functionality. Fine. Now here, so view action history. This we don't require for this. Okay, fine. We'll see that whenever it goes to manager and all, in that case we can talk on that. Fine. So done. The requisition is approved. What is the next step? We can convert this requisition as purchase order automatically. Okay, we can convert this requisition as purchase order automatically without creating again purchase order as a separate document. Automatically this can be converted as a purchase order. We'll see that how to do it. So if you want to convert this requisition as a purchase order, here we have a direct function. Here we have purchase orders. Under that you have a direct function called as auto create. Auto create means automatically create purchase order based on requisition information. That is the meaning of that. So just double click. Fine. So now you have to find your requisition. Which requisition you want to convert as a purchase order? Which requisition? Give requisition number 1. Okay. Buyer name. System is taking cloud employee. From where it is taking? From the current user. We are asking the system with cloud user. The cloud user level, cloud employee is assigned. That is the reason system is taking the same name as a buyer here. But reality, we are talking about requisition. For requisition, there won't be any buyer. Okay, for requisition, buyer is not applicable. For requisition, there could be some requester or preparer. Buyer concept will come into the picture only for purchase order. By accepting this buyer as a cloud employee, you don't find a requisition because you never provided. Okay, but cloud employee as a buyer for requisition. Okay, for the purchase order you can provide buyer. So here the same, no requisition meet your search criteria. There are no requisitions or requisition lines that match your search criteria. Re-enter your search criteria with fewer or different parameters. So requisition 1, buyer as a cloud employee, there is no record, no requisition in the system. Yes, reality, system will default, but you have to remove it, otherwise it won't work. Enter that cloud employee as a requester or preparer, then it will just consider. Okay, now that just remove the buyer value, which system will default. Reality, that should not come. Now click on find. Now you can find your requisition. So this is a requisition. Okay, this requisition we want to convert as a PO. This requisition we want to convert as a PO. So you can select requisition. So the requisition line information system is taking it. Requisition number from header, line number 1, line item, iPhone, category, description is Apple phone, and quantity 5, unit price 1500, need by date what we mentioned. Just it is copying the line information. Requester, all the record it is taking. Just enable it. Now action. By default system is taking as a create. Yes, that is true. And document type. This requisition you want to convert into which document type? We have a different POs, right? So in this auto creation process, okay, which documents are applicable? That system is showing. You want to create a standard PO or planned PO or blanket release or RFQ. You can create this requisition as a RFQ. Requisition you can convert into RFQ. Or auction, sourcing, these are all are related to some sourcing application. Okay, now here the point is system by default take as standard purchase order. You can go with that. Grouping, this is some criteria what base system has to group and create the number of purchase orders. So that is a seeded one, is default one that you can accept. You no need to change anything. That is a point you have to understand. So just find the requisition, enable, and these will default all the time same. So click on automatic. So if you want to create purchase order, we require supplier, but within this requisition we don't have supplier information. So to convert this requisition as a purchase order, you have to provide the supplier details. You are going to place against this requirement, you are going to place the purchase order to which supplier, that you have to specify. Just click on automatic, select supplier. You want to create the purchase order against which supplier. We created software called as Cloud Inc, right? System is taking high tech city. And when we are creating the purchase order automatically, okay, we have to set some information in supplier definition. Supplier level, you have to provide some information as a mandatory, then only system can create purchase order automatically based on the requisition. This point we discussed at the time of supplier creation. Anyone remember that point? Can you recall what we discussed? Which information we have to set at supplier level to support automatic purchase order creation? Anyone please? Just we discussed that point. We discussed the same. I'm just requesting. Anyone please? Fine, no answer. So when you are creating the purchase order automatically based on the requisition, so system purchase order definition, system will look for ship to and bill to. If you remember, the supplier creation time only we given ship to and bill to. I explained why we are giving. Normal invoice creation, those are not required, but if you are creating the purchase order automatically at the time, system will look at the supplier and it will look for default ship to and bill to information also, which is required for PO. Okay, if you are creating any purchase order automatically for any supplier, supplier level you have to provide default ship to and bill to. That already we given when we created this supplier. The same we discussed also. Now just click on create. Now system will create purchase order against this requisition. Takes a couple of seconds time. Wait for that. It created. So auto create to purchase order. Purchase order number is 1. It created. So PO number is 1. Where we given the PO number, where we can set the PO number creation. Anyone please?
Purchase options.
Purchase options only. What are the different information you can set for different documents? Can we set receipt number specification in the purchasing options? Can we set the receipt number generation number specification in the purchasing options? Okay. Where we can set the receipt numbering? Receiving options. Other than receipt, all other documents will set the numbering in the purchasing options. Now this is the now just we discussed invoice structure is header line distribution, even requisition structure also same. But when you talk about PO purchase order structure, so along with that 3 levels will have additional level called as shipments. So this is header section, this is a line section. Every line will have a shipment. The reason we have to inform to supplier, okay, where the supplier has to send the goods. So that is the reason for each line will have a shipment and every shipment will have a distribution. That means structure wise, PO header, PO line, lines will have a shipments, shipments will have a distribution. Between line and ship distribution, we have a shipments concept also for PO, because supplier has to ship the material. For that reason we have to specify the shipment details also to supplier. So header level, operating unit system is taking PO, and what are the supplier name and the site we given, same it is taking. See, system is taking ship to bill to from this supplier level whatever we given. Okay, it is taking cloud Hyderabad. That's what we given over there. It is taking automatically. You may see these fields as a optional, but process wise mandatory. Without this ship to bill to, you cannot process this. Now system can consider cloud employee as a buyer. When you are placing the purchase order, you can act as a buyer. When you are raising the requisition, you are not at all a buyer. Against the requisition, you don't buy anything. Against PO document, you can have some procurement activity. Okay, that's an internal process requisition. This PO where you will be placing to supplier. So system is taking the same employee which is associated at user level as a buyer. Okay, bill status of the purchase order is incomplete, and as is whatever the amount is there in the requisition that is taken here. Before that, here you can see type of purchase order is standard purchase order, and whatever the line we have in the requisition, the line system will copy as is into PO, because based on requisition only we are creating this purchase order. It is copied as is, you can see here. Okay, done. And go to, just click on shipments. Automatically system will create the shipments. Go to shipments. Okay, here this is the inventory, okay, which you selected. Cloud, okay, Hyderabad inventory, Hyderabad cloud, Hyderabad organization, CHO. Okay, this is the one which we given in requisition. The same system is taking, and ship to location is this. And somebody asked the question, if you want to get the 5 quantity to 5 different locations, what we have to do is, here you have to change it. So you can say 4 to Hyderabad, 1 to USA. The supplier has to ship 1 iPhone to USA, 4 to Hyderabad. That's how you can specify. I'm just going to clear it. Okay, here make it 5 only. Fine. So this is the record. You can see the same account system is copying from requisition distribution to this PO shipments, and this is a shipment. So everything has to be just shipped to one location. So that is the reason we call as shipment is only one shipment. If you say 4 to Hyderabad, 1 to Bangalore, then you call as 2 shipments. For each shipment you should have a distribution. Here we have a distribution tab. Click on distributions. Here system will take that information, whatever you given in the requisition level, you given type as a destination, type as inventory, the same it is taking. Who is the requester, okay, delivery location, all the details it will copy from requisition only. Quantity 5 and PO charge account, it is copying from over there. Okay, and you have a tab within the distribution. We are just talking about distribution tab. Within the distribution you have a tab called as more. Go to more tab. Okay, here you could see the same details what system is taking. And project, that's different. When you are, this PO is related to project accounting, project related, you can specify, not required now, we'll see later. Okay, so this is how we have the shipment, and you can go to distributions and you can just give all the specifications. And we given some information in the receiving options, right? What are the information we given the receiving options that system will take into receiving controls tab? That means we discussed options to default the information. It will default here. Just click on receiving. So days early 0 we given, days late we given, action none we given, or receipt tolerance 0, everything we set. And there we given receipt routing method as a standard receipt that it is taking from receiving options to PO. A standard receipt means 2 steps process. If you get the material from the supplier against this PO, first you have to create receipt, then receiving transaction. 2 steps. Take into staging first, then move into the targeted location. Just say okay. And if you go to next tab, now we are in the shipments window. Okay, from this is the purchase order header. This is lines. Within the lines, you click. We clicked on shipments. This is shipment window. From every shipment will have a distribution, and receiving controls what system is defaulting from receiving options that you can see from here. Now next to shipments, here within the shipments window, we have a tab called as more. Go to more tab. Here you can set, okay, what is the matching option you want to follow. Okay, two-way matching means will be matching with the PO. Three-way matching means along with the PO will be matching with the receipt. See here, two-way means here invoice match option. You will be creating with the PO only, right? Invoice will be creating based on the PO. If you select match approve level as a three-way, invoice will be creating by matching with the receipt. Along with the receipt, PO also will be there, but primarily you have to select receipt. Along with the PO, receipt also will be considering. When you are matching with the receipt, definitely you have to select the PO also. You have to provide PO also. So that's how you can give these specifications here. Now anyway, we plan to create invoice by matching by using the two-way matching only. Just make sure that, okay, the match approval level you are selecting as a two-way, and invoice match option is PO. You should select PO here, then only this against this invoice, okay, against this PO, okay, against this PO will be able to create the invoice you can create by matching with this PO. Just make sure that this you selected. In case of three-way, four-way, how we will be handling that, we'll see later. Okay, just remember where we have that matching option in shipments under more tab, and where we have receipt routing in receiving controls within the shipments only. Fine. So just we are not changing anything, just we are going through these details. Okay, if you change this information, you can save it. Fine, close it. Anyway, system created, just we are reviewing. Okay, we are going through that information. Okay, going forward will be for our understanding, I'll take you through the process how to create the manual purchase order, how to create the purchase order directly instead of copying the information from requisition to PO creation. We'll see that. So now everything is just copied. Now what you can do is you can submit for approval. Just click on approve tab. By default system is enabled. Submit for approval, then say okay. See the status of the PO. PO got approved. Okay, PO got approved. Why this PO got approved? So cloud employee, for cloud employee, the job is assigned as a buyer. Buyer job level we have approved limit of 10,000. The 10,000 we have for standard purchase order. That is the reason it got approved. Now done. You can just close it. Now the next step is the receipt creation. Okay. Within the PO, we have receipt routing method as a standard receipt. That means we have to perform two steps. Say task name as a create receipt. Task name is create receipt. So take the navigation. You can create receipt from inventory or purchasing. From these two applications, receipt creation function is available. The reality inventory people will create, but it won't make any difference if you create from purchasing or inventory. The form will open same form system will open. You may connect from purchasing or inventory. Okay, so I'll take you through that navigation. If you want to create the receipt from inventory, what is the navigation, I'll show you later. For now, we'll proceed with the receipt creation from purchasing itself. Okay, so just go with this navigation, receiving receipts. Okay, PO level we have a receipt routing method as standard. That is the reason we have to go with the two steps process. First we'll create the receipt, that means we'll be receiving into staging. The next step would be receiving transaction. to move the material from receiving or staging area to the actual inventory or say sub inventory. Okay, first we have to create receipt. If you are using receipt routing method as a direct, if you create receipt, that would be enough. Through receipt only you can take the material into sub inventory. But since receipt routing is standard receipt, you have to perform two steps. Okay, first create receipt. Navigation is receiving receipts. Okay, navigation is receiving receipts. You want to receive into which inventory? Select your inventory. So our inventory name is Cloud Hyderabad inventory. Cloud Hyderabad inventory. Okay, say okay. You want to receive into this inventory, but not directly into sub inventory, but this inventory related staging. Now you can search with the PO number. PO number is 1, right? Just give the PO number and tab out. It will fetch the supplier name. See, automatically is taking the supplier with this purchase order. This purchase order we placed to which supplier. Then click on find. Say we received material. We received, but we just taken into staging area, so that we are recording in the system. Once physical activity takes place, that will be recording in the system. Okay, fine. Here system is open, receipt header window. We don't require this window, close it. Now you can see the same purchase order. Within that purchase order, whatever the order we placed, we have 5 quantity. Destination type is receiving. Receiving is nothing but staging. Remember, when you see the destination type as receiving, that you have to understand nothing but staging. Okay, so you placed order for 5 quantity. How much you received? That you have to select here. You received 5 means enable it and save it. System will create receipt. Say you placed order for 5 but you received only 2. In that case, quantity changed to 2. Then you can enable and save it. System will record as a received quantity as a 2 only. Say we received 5. So enable this checkbox. Okay, here just go through this. Quantity is 5. We received 5. And destination type is receiving. Which item? iPhone. The description and location. Who is the requester, actual requester. All the information you can see. Category, all the details you can see. And here
I'm sorry.
you can see all the information. Yeah, please.
Suppose if we have we receive only 3 quantity, so remaining 2, how can we see in the system?
You just provide 3 quantity here, save it, again come back to the same window. Okay, same receipt window. Here system will be showing 2 as pending for receiving. Did you get the point?
Yeah, thank you. I got it.
So here 5 I am selecting, I am enabling. Otherwise, say you received 3 only, you give the number change to 3 and enable and save it. Then system will create receipt for 3. Now again, when you come to this window by searching, however we searched and navigated here, if you do that, quantity availability, it would be showing as a 2 only. That means you have option of receiving still 2. Whenever you receive, then you create one more receipt. We'll be creating another receipt in that case. Fine.
Got it. Thank you.
So these details system is defaulting. What is the sales order and order number and receipt routing, standard receipt. Since this receipt routing is standard, so here system is taking destination type as receiving. If receipt routing is direct, here destination type it will be showing as inventory. When it shows inventory, you have to provide sub inventory as a mandatory. Sub inventory you have to provide as mandatory in case of direct delivery. So in that case, you don't need to create receiving transaction. Here itself you can specify this you are taking into sub inventory. Because of routing is standard receipt, so you no need to provide sub inventory here. When you are creating receiving transaction, you have to provide. You no need to do anything, just save it. Enable. Okay, or else you update the quantity how much you are receiving against this PO, and when you update, automatically it will enable. If you are receiving every total quantity, you can enable it and say save. Now it will create receipt. If you want to see the receipt number, click on header tab. Earlier that form only system opened, we closed. Now we require that form, just click on headers tab. It shows receipt number. Okay, receipt number is 1, received by cloud employee. Done. Now just close it. Now where we have a stock? In the receiving, nothing but staging. Now we have to create receiving transaction to move from staging to the actual inventory, nothing but sub inventory. So say that activity wise, say move transactions, move stock from staging to sub inventory or inventory, you can say. Navigation is receiving transactions. So which receipt, or you can give PO number also, any one you can give. Receipt is 1. Okay, against this receipt, whatever the stock is available within the staging that you want to move into actual inventory or sub inventory, just click on find. Now say in the staging, how much quantity you have? 5 quantity. Okay, this 5 quantity you may move into sub inventory, or else you may move 2 quantity into sub inventory. Remaining 3 may be available in the staging, that you may move it to different sub inventory also. That you can plan and you can do it. If you want to move this total 5 quantity into one sub inventory, just enable it. You see here destination type now system is taking as a inventory. Now you are moving into inventory. Within the inventory, to which sub inventory? Sub inventory name you have to select. So when you are receiving material, sub inventory is mandatory. Reality, if the company, the client doesn't have sub inventory concept, to support the system process, at least you have to create the dummy sub inventory. Without sub inventory, you cannot receive the material into your actual inventory. You created only one as a phones sub inventory that you can select. Okay, now you can click on, just you can save it. So if you are going to follow receipt routing as inspection required, in that case this tab will get enabled. Inspection, you can conduct the inspection. That will see there is one profile option also which you have to set. Now just save it. Done. This will be updated in our inventory. Now within our inventory there should be 5 quantity. 5 iPhones should be there within our inventory because we purchased. Now we'll go to the inventory and we'll check how many iPhones are available in our inventory. We'll check it. That we call as on hand quantity or on hand availability. Okay, we'll go and check within our inventory how many iPhones are available. Switch to inventory responsibility. Okay, cloud inventory super user. Fine. So we want to check on hand quantity availability. So take this navigation, on hand availability, on hand quantity. Take this navigation. You want to check stock availability in which inventory organization. To which inventory organization you received that material, to that inventory organization. That is Cloud Hyderabad inventory, right? So you can say Cloud Hyderabad inventory. So Cloud Hyderabad inventory. Say okay. In this Cloud Hyderabad inventory, if you have multiple sub inventories, if you want to check in specific sub inventory, you can select sub inventory. So you may have multiple sub inventories in one inventory organization. In that case, you can select specific sub inventory. And you may have multiple items which you store in the specific inventory or in specific sub inventory. In that case, you can go with the item filtration also. Now we don't have different items, only one item. If you have multiple items, select item name here, then click on find. If you have only one item, just for our testing whatever we're doing, simply you can go with the find. Or else if you have multiple items, ideally you have to select the item name here, iPhone. Then click on find. Our system will display how much stock availability we have. Okay, that information will show. So here we have organizations. You can expand it So which organization we have? Only one organization, CHO, that is actual inventory. Cloud Hyderabad organization, inventory organization. Expand it. So within that on-hand quantity is available, in which sub-inventories it will display. Expand it, which item? Phones, this is a sub-inventory name. Expand it, within this sub-inventory, what item we have? iPhones we have. How many iPhones we have? You want to know. If you have multiple items within the same sub-inventory, it will display a big list. Now we have only one item, so that is showing specific item quantity. If you want to check, select that item. So system is showing here phones. Within the phones, iPhone quantity. Let's scroll little right here, you can see how many iPhones we have. 5 iPhones are available on hand. Means how many items are available within the inventory, those we call as on hand. Before performing the receiving transaction, after creating receipt, if you come and check, it will be showing the 5 in the receiving. Receiving means staging. From staging it moved to inventory, that is nothing but on hand. Or else simply by clicking on this availability tab also you can see. Total quantity 5. Available to reserve. Available to reserve means how much quantity is available to sell, available to transact, to perform the transactions within the inventory with this item, maybe from one inventory to another inventory and all. How much is available showing. Total everything is 5 only. You have availability 5. If you want to sell, you can sell. Available to reserve. Reserving means for sales purpose. Available to transact means to perform inventory transaction with this item. How much quantity is available? 5. This is how you can see. Okay. Just okay. Specific organization level total how much quantity we have. If you want to see, you can select organization and you can just see here. Once you select organization, all the items it will display here. In our case, we have only one, so it's showing only one. Fine. This is how you can, once you receive, you can verify within your inventory whether the stock is updated or not. Okay, done. Now next step is we have to create the invoice in the payables. We have receipt also. When we have receipt, normally we'll create invoice with three-way matching. We'll create invoice based on PO and receipt. But as a just testing process, what we'll do is we'll create invoice with only PO. Later we'll see how to create invoice with three-way matching. First we'll go with the two-way, then we'll see three-way, then four-way. Then that's how we can understand better. Now switch to payables to create invoice by using two-way matching. We are in the payables, so we know very well how to create the invoice, but that invoice type is standalone, means standard invoice, other invoices, whatever directly we'll create in the payables, we call as those invoices standalone. Okay, normally standard invoice you create directly, that we call as standalone. So invoices, entry, invoices. So double click. Now how to create invoice and payables by matching with the PO. Okay, so I got invoice from the supplier. The supplier invoice, whatever I received, within that invoice, supplier mentioned the invoice supplier is sending against PO number 1. Against PO 1, supplier given the invoice. So within the invoice, whatever you get from supplier, you will have a PO number. That number you have to enter here. Give PO number and tab out. Use tab. Automatically system will take supplier information from this PO. It won't allow you to change it. Just give PO number, tab out. Since we have prepayment, system is giving the note. We should have closed it. No issues. So we given PO number, automatically system is taking the against that PO who is the supplier. That means invoice you can create against this supplier only. Site it is just defaulting. Now you can just tab out. It will take the date and invoice number. Say 8888. Supplier given the invoice. Within the invoice, the amount is 10,000. But anyway, we are checking with the PO, right? We'll come to know supplier given amount is wrong amount or some exceeded amount, more than whatever actually we have to pay. Say supplier given invoice with the 10,000, I am entering, that's all. So rest of information here, This invoice we are creating against what? PO, right? So make sure that match option, match action, you will be selecting as a purchase order. By default, system will take purchase order only. This you don't need to change it. Okay. So match action should be purchase order. Since it's a two-way matching, okay, the purchase order will be selecting for matching purpose, invoice creation purpose. Anyway, this is already there by default. You don't need to change it. Okay. Now what we have to do is, whenever you match this invoice with PO, within the PO, what are the lines we have, those will be copied into invoice lines. So system, what it will copy? System will be copying the lines which are available in the PO. PO line amount how much? 7,500. But header amount as per supplier given invoice 10,000. Line amount system will bring from PO. Header amount we are entering based on supplier information, supplier invoice, but these two won't match. Then you cannot process the invoice. That's how simply you can identify. So PO amount how much, that will take here. If anything wrong with the header information which we received from supplier, you can speak to supplier and you can correct. That's how you can process the invoices with more control, and you can avoid the some excess payments or duplication of the payments and all. Fine. Now what we have to do is just here how we are creating the invoice. We are giving just PO number. System is taking the supply details, and we given the invoice number. The number also what we see in the invoice which we get from supplier, that will be giving. Here the invoice amount, which amount will be entering, what are the invoice we received from supplier, as per that invoice how much amount we have will be entering, because all the time the employees or users cannot remember the PO amounts and all. Everything should be processed through system, right? So make sure that match action will be selecting as purchase order. Okay, done. Now you have to click on match. Okay, this invoice creation you want to cross check with the PO, right? Just click on match. Just click on match. System is copying, taking PO number from invoice header level we given, right? Yes, that PO only you want to match. Click on find. So this is a line from PO. So unit price is 1500 and PO number is 1. Which item we have in that? Apple phone. Okay. So all the details you can ship to, bill to, and all the details you can see. Item number, item name is iPhone, all the details you can see. So here system is showing the actual this PO ordered quantity is 5. Order quantity 5. Received quantity also 5. Since we are doing two-way matching, we never consider receiving. Okay. We'll match with the PO only. We just enable match here. So you got invoice for how much quantity that you have to enter here. You got invoice for 5 quantity. Unit price is 1500. It is taking. Price system is taking from PO. The amount is 7,500. Here itself system is showing. Invoice amount what you entered as per the real actual supplier invoice 10,000. As per your record PO only 7,500. Okay, you can see here, you can notice, then you can talk to supplier or else you can say match. Okay, supplier sent invoice by overcharging. Now as a process, what here also you can see 7,500 is showing in red color. That means header and line information is not equal. You can see line system will create automatically based on the PO matching. We match it to the PO. In the PO, whatever the amount we have, that it will take here. We given the quantity also, right? So item 7,500, PO number is 1. You can see all the details. System will copy automatically. This is how you can have a control. Invoice quantity invoiced 5. Okay, that's what we matching time we given 5, right? The item information all you can see here. Fine. So now as a standard process, we'll try to validate this invoice. When system will allow us to validate if header line distribution amount is equal. Okay, then only it will allow. Even system will create distribution also for that. So now try to validate it. Just say okay. System is checking all the details. Header, line, distribution, amount is same or not, and all checking. See, system identified some issue. That is the reason it's giving status as needs revalidation. When you see needs revalidation, you have to go to hold tab. Right here, what system is saying? Line variance. Whole reason is the total of invoice lines does not equal to invoice amount. Invoice amount means header amount. Then you can identify the issue, because supplier is sending invoice for 10,000. You are not ready to pay whatever supplier send invoice with respect to amount. You will be paying as per the proof of documents or information will be maintaining in your system, right? That's how you can just control this process of invoice creation with overcharging and all. So now finally what we have to do, we'll speak to supplier. Supplier may tell you by mistake they sent invoice as a 10, but anyway we have proof of our PO, which is like this line information is coming from PO. You have to make it 7,500 only, then only you can process this invoice. Save it. Now submit for validation. Whatever supplier will ask us to pay, system won't allow us. It will allow whatever we have to pay. That is the reason we are using matching. Validate this invoice. Now it will get validated. It's validated. And rest of process you know very well. You can create accounting, right? And you can make the payment for this invoice by following the due date. Okay. So this is how just we can run the process of requisition, PO, receipt, receiving transaction, invoice creation through matching. When you are working for any client, when you are implementing this application, most of the clients will use, not most of the clients, the normal practice would be matching only. You create invoice through matching, depending on the PO. Whether expense PO means two-way they'll be using. If it is item related means they'll receive and they'll go with three-way. Based if they want to do inspection, they'll go with the four-way matching. Okay, and there is one more option where they can create invoice automatically in the payables the moment they create the receipt. That also will be testing in which scenario that can be used, and we'll discuss on that. So any questions on this, please? So whatever the process we have seen, based on that your understanding or any just clarity you require, or if you are mapping with some different business what you come across or anything, any queries on this, please? Any questions from anyone, please? So this is a line, it will have a distribution.
Lakshman, will you please check the status on the requisition?
Sorry?
The status of this particular requisition, whether it is complete or incomplete?
Approved. We have seen there itself, right? We are not touching with this process requisition, right? We are matching with the PO. The moment you create a requisition, we submit it for approval. It turn into status called as approval. It's approved. Okay, it won't get connected with the invoice creation, whether invoice created or not. Before creating invoice, the status won't be one, and after creating invoice, the status won't get changed. For requisition, there is no connectivity to the requisition. PO, we are dealing with the PO. You also just we created and approved. Okay.
Okay.
Yep. So any other questions from anyone, please? Okay. See, please try to answer to my question. It's my request if you are interested. Okay, if you are able to answer, then really you will be doing this course in the right track. You may be busy with your work or some other schedules, but since you selected this course, you have to complete successfully. For that reason, you have to spend time. Please take each and every point what we are discussing and what we are doing in the system, including navigation and each and every field which I am entering. If I'm talking about some field importance and purpose, that also please make a note. Read it. When you read your note, it should replicate the class what we discussed. When you're reading, you should be able to recall entire class which we are discussing respective session. That's how just get your note ready, read multiple times till you remember that information, and practice multiple times, then it will work. And if you are attending session today, make sure that if possible try to complete this practice and read your note at least 1 or 2 times before tomorrow's session, so that you'll be able to answer to your questions. So we have to appreciate Jay Prakash is answering for most of the times. Okay, hope other and a few more guys also we have. So if you are really very much interested, if you have possibility of time attending the classes and practicing, that really will help you a lot. For sure, you can get job on this. Otherwise, reality, I'm not talking negative way. Reality, many people do the any courses, this IS, IT course, ERP or anything. Out of many, mostly the people who are working, if 100 working people are going to do some different course, hardly maybe 10 people may remain till ending, just trying for the job and all. Reason that people are working, they are busy with some other activities and all, they cannot focus. If they can focus really, that will help us, help them lot. Only the point is what you have to do, you have to focus on the practice as well as reading your note. Before that, you have to take all the points. That's how you can just execute this class course to get job. It's easy. The course which you selected is a very easy course. That is the first point. You selected right course, no doubt. You have to go in the right track for the preparation. The right track is here. I mean, like spending more time, as much as possible you can spend. If you are working, you are very busy, at least weekends, or else spend minimum 1 or 2 hours every day. That's how you can sort out what we are learning. You can get ready. Don't plan to prepare after some time. Don't keep schedules. I'll start from next week. Now you may be busy, but at least spend some time. At least read one time the note what you are taking from the classes before you attend tomorrow's session. Say today you are attending session. Session is at 7 o'clock. Before session, read yesterday's session for just 5 minutes, which you written in your note. That really will help you a lot. When I'm asking something, easily you can recall and it will get connected. That's how your experience will be totally changed. We know these points, everybody knows. Oh, okay, but still I'm just talking about those with my own interest because that's really required. Okay, so that's all for today. If you have any questions, please. If no questions, we can wind up for today. We'll connect tomorrow. In tomorrow's session, we'll see manual PO creation, and we'll go with the process of creating the requisition or PO more than the approval limits, and we'll see how it would be routed to their supervisor, how supervisor will approve, how this employee can process that, and we'll see the manual PO creation, and we'll test 3-way matching, 4-way matching, and we'll go through direct receipt routing method and inspection required routing methods also. And after completing that, still if time we are going to have time in tomorrow's session, we'll complete automatic invoice creation AP. When you create the receipt, when you create receipt, system can create invoice automatically in accounts payables. And after that, we'll see purchase returns. We'll perform the purchase returns, and when you do the purchase returns, system will create the debit memo automatically in payables to reduce the amount from the standard invoice. We'll see these all one by one. Once we're done with that, we don't need to touch P2P cycle again. We'll be focusing on accounts payables. We have many other features within accounts payables. First, I'll just list out all those and we'll discuss detail level what is the purpose, in which business scenario those can be used, and we'll complete all those things, and we'll go through the accounting, and we'll look into some reports, and I'll take you through some tables, base tables, interface tables, and we'll write few queries, SQL queries to fetch the data and to go through the data, how it can be analyzed, and just we'll go through very high level what level of information we require about this application. And as a part of this course only, we'll see the integration. This application accounts payables is integrated with which other applications, what purpose, what data flows in and out, all these points we'll discuss. So this is how just we'll finish this AP. Maybe I'm not very sure, like I cannot count how many sessions it may require. Maybe think 6-7 sessions maybe. I'm not sure. We'll see. Okay. So if you don't have any questions, we can wind up for today. We'll connect tomorrow. But spend more time. Spend more time. That's very, very important for this sort of courses. You should remember it. Fine. Thank you all. Have a good day and good night.